All right. Well, guys, it's fantastic to get you all on the screen today. We are going to be talking about an upcoming event, a buy-in event that will be of, I think, huge interest to those in Australia and New Zealand. So we'll just crack straight into it. First of all, by way of quick introductions, I'm Nish. I head up the global banking and financial services practice within CC&C, very much focused on getting buy-in out there into banks and in vendors and fintechs. I'll hand it over to Arran to introduce yourself.
Hi, yeah, I'm Arran. I'm targeted as a BIAN architect. I've spent a couple of years trying to implement BIAN in the bank and learn a lot from it, and like doing the same with other banks.
Yep. Hi, I'm Mamta. Same as Arran, BIAN architect. Been working in BIAN for many years now and have been loving using BIAN for different organizations and looking forward to doing a lot more in Australia and New Zealand.
Fantastic, spot on. So, look, for those watching this who don't know what buy-in is, can we describe it in layman's terms?
Sure. So, from my perspective, yeah, it's a framework for standardizing architecture, data, and integration for the banking industry. So, rather than coming up with something from scratch, banks can use it to give them a head start, using tested prior art from industry experts. And this really allows them to focus more on valuable areas to support their customers and the bank's overall value proposition and their differentiators, rather than the stuff that is common for all banks. So, it gives you that head start into your architecture design, your data and your integration space, and allows you to build, common standardized building blocks that can be, reused in a lot of different business scenarios, and should be pretty common to most banking organizations.
Yeah. I have same opinion as Arran. I think I'll give a slightly different twist to it. It's saying picking up from something that we were talking in the buy-in community a couple of years back, is that whatever a bank does, every bank does exactly the same thing. So the capabilities and functions that we have in a bank are absolutely the same. Banks have always been doing exactly the same thing, but how we do it is slightly different, and that's what we have to architect. But if we start with what we do, and that's what BIAN provides, what banks does is that these capability models, and then we can deviate from there and say, how do we do it? And we can realize that in a different way, different banks might want to do it a different way. And we bring those capabilities together in a different way as well to create a new process. So what BIAN provides us is this building blocks, which are standard. Everyone knows them in the same language, common language across the whole industry. When you talk to your business stakeholders within the bank itself, we understand the capability in the same way. And then the technology can go away and derive it in a different way to support the requirement of a specific bank. And that's what BIAN provides, a standard set of capabilities that we can use.
Yeah, excellent. What I'm hearing is, and I think there's a perception out there that maybe buy-in is purely a technology or a technical sort of framework. But what I'm hearing is this is really a whole of bank sort of model, right? It's looking at it from the business perspective. Yes, it does have relevance and translates into your application and data and technology. But first and foremost, it's a way of looking at how banks function. It's a model for a bank, which is much needed. So that's great. So, is it being adopted by banks? What sort of use cases are they solving with buy-in? What have you guys seen out there in the industry?
Yeah, so BIAN is being used by a large number of banks internationally. This includes organizations that are actually formally BIAN members, and a number of them that are not. And like there are over 100 official BIAN members at this point. And each bank or organization, because it's not just banks that can use BIAN, that they'll have different problems that they're trying to solve or different value that they're trying to derive from it. Originally, like it was intended to target integration, so there's an opportunity to standardize in that space and provide value there. It supports integration standardization, which also means the supporting data for it. So it works with standards such as ISO to do that. So that's another area where you can add value is in that space. And then talking, on Mamta's previous point around describing a bank in a common way standard building blocks that make up a bank, the consistency for doing so. And what that should mean over time is that when banks are integrating with other banks or vendors that are also buying online, then that integration should be eased and made more cost effective in the long run as well.
Yeah, we've had opportunity to work with banks across different geographies, and we realized that different geographies have different needs. And I'm going to focus a little bit on more geography focused than all the use cases. Is when we look at the APAC region, we are the change in APAC is going really fast. Like if you look at the Asian banks, there's so much of digitization which is happening. Even Australia is moving to a digitization of their channels, digitization and integration between their partners. New innovative models are coming up, business models are coming up, which require us to have APIs. So I think in APAC community, there's a lot of adoption and buy-in to standardize your integration. So understand what each integration point is trying to do, and being able to publish that, being able to understand that, and have your partners leverage it in the way you intended that integration to be designed. So there is a lot of adoption in this area in terms of integrations, and also understanding the data, because what enables our integration is the data which sits behind it. So what is the data that we're going to publish as part of that integration, who's going to consume it, and how they're going to consume it. So these two use cases are very prevalent in this side of the geography. But when we go towards the European geography, I think the banks are multi-regions, and standardization from a different aspect is more important for them in terms of which tools that they're using, which products that they're using, and how those products are being used. Partner products are being used in different geographies. So they're trying to lay it out across their different group subsidiaries. What platforms do they have? Which region is using that, and how are they leveraging it? So a lot more on application portfolio management, a lot more on your the whole of group visualizations. They're using it in that aspect. When we go to US and Canada, it's focusing a lot on what are the capabilities that banks want to develop, just because of the fact that US banks there are many smaller banks which needs to know what the capabilities are so that they can focus their investment in those capabilities which are differentiating capabilities rather than stock standard capabilities. So they're using it a lot in terms of understanding what are the capabilities, how do they evolve to meet the challenges of the US geography itself. So different geographies have been trying to use buy-in in different capacity.
Fantastic. I mean, it definitely sounds like the adoption is picking up pace. We've seen, as Arran mentioned, a huge number of member banks joining, and so I think that value proposition, the benefits, is clearly there. So if for banks in Australia, New Zealand that are either already on the journey or looking at buy-in, what's the best way to get more information? What are the next steps? What should they do?
Well, so like an easy one is to go visit the BIAN website, and you can subscribe to the mailing list there, and look at the repository and the materials there. There's obviously an event coming up in Sydney, so if you can get along to that and get involved, that'd be awesome. And then obviously you can reach out to the experts like CC&C.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we've been trying to build the community, especially because we're based in Australia. Arran is in New Zealand. We have a good presence here in this geography. So yes, definitely reach out to us. We are also trying to come up with a LinkedIn community where there's a buy-in practitioner community, which I manage. And we are trying to bring that knowledge to the community using that channel. But yes, reaching out to buy-in, reaching out to us, reaching out to other experts, that I think is a good place to start.
Yeah, fantastic. And Arran, you mentioned the event that's coming up. So the Sydney chapter meet of BIAN, that's on May 20th, the Tuesday. What can we talk a bit more about that? What can attendees expect to see covered in this one day?
Yeah, so CC&C will be running a session on how to adopt BIAN successfully. And that's intended, to be some audience participation, questions and answers, that sort of thing. And we can talk about all the things that we've learned through the different organisations that we've been involved in.
Oh, I was going to say a bit more on that. Yeah, so that's definitely there. There will also be a working group sessions, which would be part of the day, that day, and they will be dedicated to different part of BIAN. So there will be one for data, there will be another one for training and adoption. So if you are participating in that event, it'll be good to enroll yourself into one of these sessions. That's a good way to learn from the BIAN themselves and other people who are in our region trying to use BIAN.
Cool. And from what I've seen of the agenda, there'll also be some presentations from some of the Australian Big Four banks, right, on how BIAN is being used and the benefits that they're seeing. And then personally, what I think will be quite exciting is that BIAN themselves will be sharing some details on the tooling and accelerators that they're releasing to help banks and vendors adopt it. So I think, my takeaway on this is, if you are a bank in Australia, New Zealand, this is the event to come along to if you're, even just thinking about BIAN, because it'll be a great way to learn about it. And members of the BIAN board will be there, right? So there'll be access to the kind of the key brains trust of behind the BIAN framework, as well as some of the more technical contributors. So overall, it's a fantastic opportunity. It'll all be focused around BIAN. The key banks will be there. You can have peer discussions. We'll have experts like ourselves in CC&C, and then the BIAN board themselves. So I think it's going to be a phenomenal opportunity. So look, guys, thank you. I think that really does kind of give a good flavor of what's going to happen. So I think to wrap up, the key messages here are: don't miss this event. There'll be details in this after this video on how to register for that. Definitely come along to this. Bring your team along to this. For more information, if you have questions on BIAN, there's plenty of resources out there. But really, a great way to start is reach out to us. So you can contact us at info@ccncsolutions.com. We'll put that as well in the links. And we'll be more than happy to connect with you, help you better understand what this can mean for your bank, how to go about adopting it. We deliver training and certification on this, as well as consulting for projects. So lots that we can help with. And hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.